Hey there, garden friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. I am coming out of COVID round 2 that I relapsed and lost a couple days. So this morning, it's Sunday morning, I need to go into the home farm and harvest all the greenery that I'm going to need for my final deliveries of the summer CSA season. You'll probably remember that I had to cancel my fall session because deer decimated everything out at the farm. So I have one more delivery for summer, and I just need to harvest here. And also at the farm, there's still plenty of dahlias and some sunflowers and other stuff. And so I'll gather everything up and I will build bouquets tomorrow for delivery on Tuesday. So this morning is going to be a bit of garden chores. Also going to be laying out the beginnings of the new permaculture beds in the front. And I will, if I have the energy, start restructuring the chicken area because we have so many things that we need to chip, and we need wood chips in that area. And so I'm going to start getting going on that so we can at least start filling up that area with wood chips. But in the meantime, I need to get my buckets together and go out and get all my greenery. Last year, my basil was an absolute fail, but this year, lots of beautiful stems. This is the Opopeo variety, and now I'm gonna get ready to cut the lemon, Miss Burns lemon basil. This smells so amazing. It's making me hungry. This is Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus. It is grown by cut flower growers for the foliage. You can see how beautiful this is. Nice long stems. I grew this from seed, super easy and prolific. So you can grow this as a landscape plant. It is only hardy in zones 8 and up. It is a tropical perennial, so it's a tender perennial. You might be able to try to overwinter it in zone 7, but I would say you definitely have to cover it or dig it up and put it in a pot and bring it inside. However, they're so easy to grow from seed that you could just start a new one of these every year. So they grow to 3 to 5 feet tall. They want sun to part sun, probably part sun in places where it's super hot in the summertime. And you can just get loads and loads of these long stems, beautiful for cut flower arrangements, but also just really beautiful in your garden. I'm not the biggest fan of status for fresh arrangements, but it is a rock star for dried. Just a few garden notes before I end this video. I'm going to do a little bit of veg harvesting, and The tomatoes are really starting to come on, which is great. I would love to make some sauce, some salsa. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you what's going on in the veg garden, because in just a week it's kind of exploded. We're having a tiny bit of a heat wave where we're going up into the 90s, which is kind of nice because we've been in the 70s, which has been beautiful pretty much all summer. Amazing, cool summer. But it's kind of nice for the veg for it to get hot for a little bit. So let me show you what's going on in the veg garden. Okie dokie. Here is one of the tomato patches, and you can see I've got some really big fruits. There's lots of these yummy little cherry tomatoes, and then these guys called Orange Hat. They are actually a container variety. So Orange Hat, if you just have a patio and you want to grow tomatoes, these guys are great, really prolific. Every day, ripe tomatoes on there. And we've got more and more tomatoes back here. I'm going to harvest these today because even though they could still go a couple days, I've been finding that harvesting them when they're about 60% of the way there is better, because then critters don't get them and I get to eat them. This bed, that was the garlic bed, slow to go, which is, I didn't expect much, but this is funny. That to me looks like a volunteer potato, which is weird because I don't think I've ever grown potatoes here before. Anyway, all the peppers are out at the greenhouse at the farm. This melon is actually going. We'll see what happens. But this bed, I think, is going to become an asparagus bed. So a permanent bed. This year, in the fall, this will be the garlic bed because this was the garlic bed this year. So I rotate everything to make sure we don't spread disease by having things in one spot for too long. Still coming with cucumbers and squash. So I have to harvest in here today. There's probably 7 or 8 cucumbers in there and a bunch of squash. And then, so this is a winter squash that I planted. It looks beautiful. I think it's gonna hopefully give me some fruit. It's flowering. And then all of these beans are starting to get ready. So I'm super excited to harvest those. And there's some big ones on there. So I'm gonna do those as well today. These green beans are just now flowering, so they're taking longer than the bush variety here. However, I do see some. Oh, wow. Look at this one. This is actually a bush variety right here, but look at that one. Yum. So I planted 2 different bush varieties. One's a purple pod and one's a green pod. So it looks like there's green pods as well to pick. But these climbing ones are a little slower, but that's okay. That just means we'll have multiple things to harvest. Blackberries finally starting to peter out. I need to tie up these canes. I'll do a video in the fall or maybe early spring about pruning your blackberries, but blackberries and some other berries bloom on old wood, meaning this cane is new this year. This will carry berries next year. So when you prune, you don't want to take off the new ones, right? So if it helps and if it gets confusing when all the leaves are off, you could tie a little ribbon to the fruiting canes from this year so that you know which ones to cut off before the leaves fall. Okay, so I'm gonna harvest my veg and then I'm gonna go inside and have some breakfast. It's like 9 o'clock and I'm hungry. There you go, harvest from this morning. Basket of tomatoes, at least a dinner's worth of green beans, cucumbers, this is a big one, squashes, and a lone radish, which probably is gonna be too woody to eat, but I'll try it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today in my harvest. I hope you have a great time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.